So what is architecture?
I would start with that architecture is everything but not buildings. Because as architects, we design spaces, and we design also legislative forms. We design business plans and ways how builders communicate and execute things. And at the very end, there are buildings, but actually architecture is a lot more than this.
So what can architecture do?
When we see architecture as a possibility to change our environment, architecture can actually do a lot. But we need to leave the path of this object-focused thinking and return to the vast possibilities of architecture. And in this, architecture can do a lot, but we just need to dare to use architecture to produce not only spaces and buildings, but also to produce frameworks or to produce materials or business plans. And in this, architecture can do a lot.
What is your architectural position?
Yeah, I see myself as architect as someone who brings together people and brings together, I would say, also ambitions. And in this people can of course be many ways in to see this. So this can be a client, but it can also be the craftsman executing the project, but it can also of course be the user. And I think my position would be to not start a project when we are commissioned for one, but already to start a project way earlier, and also continue thinking about the building and continue staying with that building for longer. And so the process is not finished when the user is moving in or when we kind of hand over let's say the building, but it's actually continuing. And I think in this, my position would be to see a building where actually, or to see architecture where actually there is no presence of it, and to see architecture where most architects would already go to the next project.
What is your design method?
The design method, I like to be really specific and work from very specific locations and circumstances. So this can come, for example, from a very specific village where I try to understand everything. So I try to understand every house in that village, every human relationship, every social pattern, the whole year. I want to be there the whole year to understand the seasons. And when I experience this for a long time, I can see certain patterns, certain systems through this very specific observation, and then try to form more abstract patterns and systems which also apply then to other places. So by understanding a very specific location, let's say in Luxembourg or in Germany, we can also learn something about another location in Asia or in Africa or somewhere else. And of course, this is also due to the fact of globalization, that already we are very connected, and the connection is already established on the level of the city, let's say. So the city of London is very connected to New York or to Tokyo. I mean, this is, let's say, clear, but I think that also on the village scale or on the scale of the periphery, it's also very much connected. And through this connectivity, we can have this very specific approach.
So what is the future of architecture?
What is the future? Yeah, I think part of the future will be that architects will stop building and stop building in the sense in designing buildings. And building is still, let's say, an active word, so you can also build other things, like you can build relationships, you can, and in this sense, I think the future of architecture is less about building new big buildings, which then can be used as, let's say, assets and used for the growth of the economy. But architecture will be more about, for example, the care of the existing structure, or the design, as I mentioned, of a business plan that allows a different way of architecture, or let's say the invention of a building material which then can be applied at many other buildings. So I would say the future is not anymore at singular buildings which can be displayed on architecture magazines, which can be posted on Instagram, but it will be more about a process, about let's say a kind of caretaking on an existing condition and on the continuation of this existing condition.